Welcome to another handy learning lesson. In today's lesson, we're going to talk about semantics. So with no further ado, let us start with the topic. Through this lesson, we're going to learn about semantics, semantic roles, and semantic structures. Let's talk about the definition of semantics. Semantics is one of the 6 features of any language. Just to remind you on those features, they are phonetics, phonology, morphology, syntax, semantics, and pragmatics. Semantics is the study of the meaning of words, unlike syntax, which is the study of the functionality of the words in the arrangement of them as grammar. Semantics studies how these words work in their meanings interrelated one with another. So we have 2 types of semantics, lexical and phrasal. When we talk about lexical semantics, we're talking about the meaning of words as units, right? And we can call that semantic structures. When we talk about phrasal semantics, we're talking about the interaction and functionality of the words one with another and how each word affects the meaning of the other interconnectedly. So we can talk about phrasal semantics as semantic roles. So let's start talking about semantic roles, which will be phrasal semantics. And just for you to know, there are some authors that considered the words to have a different functionality beyond the grammar part of a speech. So we should be careful with this because we might confuse the words. In semantics, a noun can be an agent or an instrument, right? So we should not confuse the words from syntactic categories to semantic roles. Let's be sure that we are focusing on semantics here. So let's talk about the roles that we can find in the different phrases or clauses in semantics. We have the agent, patient, theme, experiencer, beneficiary, instrument, goal, and source. The agent is the doer, right? Is the item on the sentence that creates the action. For example, here it says agent, David cooked the meat. David is the agent because he is applying an action to the meat. The patient is the undergoer, is the one that receives the action denoted by the predicate. So in this example, Edna cut back these bushes. In this example, these bushes is the patient, and we should include both the determiner, these, and the noun bushes. So all of the phrase, these bushes, will become the patient, all right? Then the theme, right, is the entity in the phrase or clause that is being moved. We should have an action there that implies physical movement, or its location is being described. So when we ask the question, what are we talking about? We can find the answer by asking which item in the sentence is being moved. Let's take a look at the example. David passed the ball wide. So when we see the verb passed, it implies physical movement. Therefore, we're talking about the ball. We're not talking about David. The theme is the ball. The same will happen if we say the ball which is on the desk. We are describing its location, therefore the ball is the theme. Then we have the experiencer. Unlike the agent, the experiencer only feels the action. He cannot create that action because the experiencer is going to do is going to imply a stative verb, such as like, hate, love, see, hear, taste, right? So let's take a look at the example. Edna felt ill. So Edna is an experiencer because she's just experiencing the illness, all right? Now let's take a look at the next set of roles. Beneficiary is the entity that receives a benefit from the action. So let's take a look at the example. David filled in the form for his grandmother. In this case, his grandmother is receiving a benefit because she did not have to fill in the form as David did it for her. All right, so his grandmother is a beneficiary. The instrument, it says, is the medium by which the action or event is carried out. So we can spot the instrument because it will always be introduced by the prepositions either with or by. So let's take a look at the example. It says she cleaned the wound with an antiseptic wipe. So that will be the instrument. The goal is the entity or the location in which direction, in the direction of which something moves, right? The entity towards which something moves. Edna handed her license to the policeman. That means that she's moving physically the license to the policeman. So the policeman is the goal, right? The source is the entity from which something moves. So we can find it because we will have from, either written or implied. So we can say the plane came back from Kinshasa, or we got the idea from that magazine. So when we have from, that item is the source. Okay, so this will be semantic roles, which fits into the category of phrasal semantics. Okay, now let's take a look at semantic structures or lexical semantics, which it talks about the words as units. So we have different different semantic structures. We have synonyms, antonyms, hyponyms, homonyms or homophones. We have heteronyms, homographs, metonyms, synecdoche. Okay, I will encourage you to open your PDF file included in the lesson. Click on these links because each one of these explanations is going to is going to prompt you to a website with a bunch of examples of these type of words. So let's take a look at them. Synonyms. They are words with similar meaning in similar context. I think we all know what synonyms are. Then we have antonyms. And in antonyms, we have three different categories of antonyms, right? The complete opposite, right? Which are the words that we know as antonyms. But we also have gradable pairs. Okay, a gradable pair is when there are more than two words that can have opposite meaning. For example, if we say the word hot and cold, those two words will be opposite, right? They will be complete opposites. But in the middle of hot and cold, we can include the word warm or chilly. And in that case, we can have a gradable pair. So they are all antonyms, but they are gradable pairs, right? The same will happen if we say, I don't know, short, medium-sized, tall. Okay, everything that has something in the middle, they are gradable pairs. Okay, then we have hyponyms. It says words that refer to members of a larger category. In this category, we have two types of words, hypernyms and hyponyms. Okay, the hypernyms is the category and the hyponym is the item that belongs to that category. For example, if I say sports, sport is the hypernym. The hyponym of a sport could be football, basketball, tennis, and any other that belongs to that category. So I repeat, a hypernym is the category. A hyponym is the word subordinated to that category. Then we have homonyms or homophones, which might be the same, right? They are words that are different in meaning, but they are pronounced the same. Okay, so they have different meanings, but their pronunciation is the same. So again, I will suggest you to click on the link on the meaning of the words so you can check a list of homonyms or homophones. Then we have heteronyms, words that are spelled the same but pronounced differently. Words that are spelled the same but pronounced differently. So in this case, these words have the same spelling, but their pronunciation is completely different. Again, click on the link so you can see a bunch of lists of words which belong to this category. Then we have homographs, words that are spelled the same but have different meaning and may have different pronunciation. The pronunciation in the end is irrelevant. Okay? Then we have metonyms, words that are associated with something and are used as a substitute for that thing. And a synecdoche are words that are parts of a larger whole that stand for the whole. Okay, I need to explain the difference between a metonym and a synecdoche. All right, for example, metonym, let's take a look, let's take the example of the word crown. Okay, the crown, when we talk about it, we can be referring to the royalty. Okay, when we say the crown has made a decision, that could even be a queen or a king who has made a decision. So we use the word crown to represent a whole concept, right? That is a metonym. In the case of a synecdoche, the synecdoche needs to be, I mean, the word that we use needs to be part of the whole thing that it stands for. When we say, for example, crown, the crown is not a physical part of a king or a queen, it's just an accessory, right? But it's not part of it. But a synecdoche, it will include, I mean, that will be part of it. For example, let's say I'm going to count heads. And when we say that expression, we're referring to animals, to cattle. So when I say head, I'm referring to the whole animal, but the head is part of the animal. In that case, this is called a synecdoche. Okay? So that will be the difference. And again, I will encourage you to click on the links so you can see the set of examples of each one of these semantic structures. All right, finally, it is time to practice. On your PDF of this lesson, you can click on these links to practice about the topic we have checked today. And finally, last but not least, we have the list of references. If you want to read more about these topics, you can click on any of these links and get more information about that. So that's all for this handy learning. I hope you have enjoyed it and you have learned a lot. Thank you very much. See you next time.